Good morning, dear students. I am Miss Naveda Shaikh from Brahan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika MCGM virtual class. I welcome all my dear students to another and interesting session. In today's session, we'll be learning something new and interesting from a science textbook. So let's get started. Good morning, dear students. I am Miss Naveda Shaikh. Today we'll be learning the next part of this chapter, the living world, adaptation and classification. In our previous session, we have already learned about adaptation in plants, and today we will be learning about adaptation and classification in animals. So let's get started. Okay, so here in this picture, you can see so many different types of animals, and we know that animals play a huge part of our everyday life. We could not live without them because they help in maintaining the ecosystem. But how do they survive? Animals have adapted to their environment in many ways. So, in this chapter, we will be learning about how these animals have adapted successfully to survive in various ways, and that ways we are going to see in this session. Depending upon various factors like the habitat that they are living in, means the place where they are living, whether it is a forest, whether it is an water aquatic area, or whether it is a region where you have too much of snowfall, according to that they have adjusted themselves. So this adaptation in animals, today we'll be learning about how they've adapted according to the habitat that they are living in. Okay, so let's get started with the adaptation in aquatic animals. Alright, so as we start with aquatic animals, so the very first animal which comes into our mind when we talk about aquatic, the word aquatic, it gets related with the fish, right? So the fish, here you can see we have a diagram which helps us to understand the different parts of the fish. Okay, once you know the parts of the fish, then you know how they have adapted and how they are able to live inside water. Okay, so the very important parts that we will be learning in this session are the gills, the scales, the fins, and the fins are of various types. So the pectoral fin, the dorsal fin, the caudal fin, the pelvic fin, and the anal fin. Okay, and there is also important thing, that is the lateral line. These things are very important because we'll be learning about them in detail. First thing that we are talking about today is the gills. When you see the fish, you can see this part that is called as the gill, just besides the mouth. Fish have a tendency to take in water through their mouth and give out through the gills. Now, what exactly are the gills doing? The gills are helping the fish to breathe. Now, we all know that fishes do not have lungs like humans, and the water which is there has oxygen dissolved in it. But this fish have a very specialized organ called as gills, which helps them to absorb the oxygen which is already present in the water, and it helps them to breathe through the process of respiration. Okay, so the fish use their gills to breathe. They suck in water through their mouth and breathe out through their gills. The most important thing that we will be learning is the lateral line. The lateral line is a line of very small pores that senses water movement and vibration. They help them to see how the water is moving, whether the current is fast or slow, okay, so they can move accordingly. The next important part of the fish is the scales. The scale is a protective covering over the fish. Now, you all have experienced that if you stay inside water for a longer period of time, you must have seen the difference in your skin texture. Okay, so imagine if the fish is staying inside the water throughout the life, what will happen if there is no scales? So scales are very important because they are hard coat. They are thin but they are hard. Okay, which is overlapping one above the other, and it helps and it acts as a slime over it so that nothing gets stuck to it and their body is also protected. The next is fins. Fins are used for swimming and sometimes for protection also. How protection? Some of the fishes have a very spine-like fins which help them to protect themselves from the predators. Okay, they are made of skin with tiny bones and cartilages in them. Fins come in lots of shapes and sizes. Okay, so it is the next adaptation that we'll be learning is adaptation in amphibian animals. Now, amphibian, the word amphibian stands for living animals living both on land and in water. They have they have modified their body is modified in such a way that they can live both in water and on land. Now let's see how is it possible. Here there are two images. You can see a duck and you can see frogs. These two animals are well known and you must have seen it also. If you haven't seen it by your eyes, you must have seen it in the television, where you must have seen the frogs jumping from the water onto the land, or they are moving on the leaves or trees. Same way the ducks can walk on the land and they can swim also. Now, how is it possible? Because the frog here you can see, we'll take this example, very simple one. They have two organs which helps them to breathe. Okay, they have lungs also and they have skin also. Now skin, we also have skin, but their skin is modified. Their skin helps to absorb oxygen which is already present in water. So when they go into the water, the skin acts as a organ of respiration. Okay, they help them to take in oxygen and breathe. Whereas when they are on land, the skin doesn't work, the lung starts to work and they take in oxygen and help them to breathe. Okay, so the skin here is a very important part of adaptation. The skin is the lining of the mouth cavity of many adult amphibians are thin and richly supplied with blood vessels. Okay, they have watery mucus which is secreted by glands in their skin. One more important thing that they have is their leg bones. They have legs of land vertebrate, must be strong enough to hold its weight. Okay, so they have long legs so they can jump. And there are a few more important things that we are going to learn is the adaptation in ducks. They have two kinds of feathers. Okay, the flight feathers which help them to fly and the ones which help them to keep warm. Ducks have flat feet who help them swim in the water. Now, these feet are web shaped. Okay. Now, we will be learning about that also. Apart from that, oily feathers help them to be waterproof. Means their feathers are coated with a waxy layer which doesn't let the water seep into their body and it rolls off. Now, this is what you can see in this picture. You can see two girls are uh, in a boat, and the handles that you can see, those are called as oars. Now, why I have taken this picture? In order to explain you what is oars. Okay, so here you can see a frog. Frogs have webbed feet. Okay, most of the amphibians have webbed feet because they need to move in that particular fashion. Now, the frogs can actually swim easily on inside the water with the help of these webbed feet, and they can jump also easily on the surface of the land. Same way, the ducks also have webbed feet which acts like oars while swimming. Okay, oars you all have understood. जब हम लोग चप्पू बोलते हैं ना, चप्पू चलाना, the same thing happens with the webbed feet of these amphibians. So, in short, what have we studied about amphibious animals? Animals that live both on land and water are called amphibious animals. Some other animals like water snakes, crocodiles, tortoise, crabs also spend a part of their life in water and part on land. Frog is an amphibian. It inhabits both land and water. Being a true amphibian, it can breathe in water with the help of skin, and when on land, it breathes with nose and lungs. Now here, duck is a bird. It cannot take oxygen dissolved in water. So it breathes only with the help of lungs. It does not have that specialized skin. But the other things that are there, in the amphibian is, whereas we talk about tortoise, it is a reptile that cannot breathe in water. It puts its nose out of the water to get some air. There are webbed toes in frogs and duck, oar-like legs. As I explained you, what is the meaning of oar? Both these helps in swimming. Okay. So few examples of amphibious animal is this water hen also. They have a water or they have waxy coating on their feathers which help in quick draining of water from their body, and they do not get wet. Like if you go into the water, your body gets fully drained. Okay, but these animals, these birds we talk about, if they go inside the water also, they do not get, the feather has this waxy coating and the water rolls off from their feather. So the next adaptation that we're going to talk about is in forest and grassland animals. When you talk about forest and grassland animals, there's a picture in your mind about animals moving around in long grasses, and there are huge trees and there are various types of animals, and especially we think about animals like zebras, lion, tigers, giraffe, dinosaurs, right? And that is actually right. Adaptation in grasslands and forest animals. These animals are very, very, very important to understand because they're very interesting also. Here you can see we're talking about carnivorous animals first. Carnivores are animals which are survive on the animals, other animals like the herbivores. Okay, animals which are eating other animals for their survival, for their nutrition, are called as carnivorous animals. Okay, so this way, the next in the next later part also you have this. So remember that carnivorous animals. Now, speciality of the carnivorous animals are, these animals have strong legs with sharp claws. You can see how sharp claws they have. Claws are nothing but the nails that you can see coming out. These are very sharp. They can tear their prey in one shot. Okay. Now, how do they walk? They walk silently. Means they have padded paws. Means their legs have the region which is the lower region of their leg. They are very padded, and they walk very silently, so that if they are going for hunting, nobody can make out whether the lion or a tiger is on their way towards them. Next, they have their eyes in front of their head so that they can see very clearly how the prey is going here and there. Okay, so they have keen eyesight to spot the prey from long distance also. Then you are here in this picture, you can see the teeth. The teeth, they have pointed canines. Means if they are going for a hunt, if they get into the prey, the teeth directly penetrates into the skin and they die immediately. Okay. So teeth are very important for carnivorous because it helps them to tear the animal. Okay, it cannot be done with our teeth. You cannot do it, right? So we have different teeth, we have different purpose. These animals are feeding onto other herbivorous animals which have thick layers of skin, and in order to tear them and eat that meat of the other animal, they need to have strong and pointed canines. The next one is the animals have small ears. A few examples of carnivorous animals are here on the screen, and we have seen them all. Not all, but few of them, like the wild dog, fox, tigers, and lions. Okay, so I hope carnivorous animals are clear. Now we move on to the next type of animals and their adaptation, that is the herbivorous animals. Herbivorous animals are animals which eat only grass and leaves. Okay, they do not eat other animals. So, what are the things which are important to know about them? Their legs. Their legs are long, tapering legs with strong hooves. Hooves means the lower part. Okay, so that when they are running over the grasslands and the very hard region, they do not hurt themselves because they have to be very careful from the carnivorous animals to avoid them to eat. Right. So everybody wants to be happy and live a longer life. Same way the herbivorous animals also want. So they have adapted their body in such a way that their legs are long and tapering, means they are not very thick. Okay, thin होते हैं उनके legs. Next is they run very fast. Okay, how do they move? Running and leaping fast. Here you can see running and leaping, both the things. How beautiful they look, right? Next, the eyes. The eyes are below the forehead on either side of the head. Okay, not like the carnivores. Carnivores had in front of them, but here these animals have on either side so that they can have a view, larger view of the regions on either sides also. Okay, so they can see what is happening around. They have long and freely moving ears so that they can sense about the smallest and tiny sound also they can easily identify. Their teeth have strong molars. Strong molars means when they are eating, see here you can see the giraffe here, they are eating, they have strong molars because they do not have canines like the carnivores. They do not need animals, they do not need them, but they need strong molars because they want to eat the leaf. Okay, so I hope with this herbivorous animals and their adaptation is clear. Here let's have a quick revision of what we learned about animals and their adaptation in grasslands. They have flat feet when we talk about herbivorous animals. Here you can see the zebra, how brightly he is smiling, and you can see their flat feet, right? Whereas small animals can easily hide because they can easily and quickly dig burrows in the soil. The speed of the carnivores and herbivores is impeccable because cheetahs have flexible spines that help them to run fast. Okay, so these are a few adaptations that these animals in grasslands and forests have done in order to survive. The next adaptation that we're talking about is in desert animals. When we talk about desert animals, you think about a region which has very less water. There is no rainfall. There is so much amount of sand, right? And that is true. And how do animals and plants live there? We've already learned about how plants survive there. Today we'll see how animals have.
If you liked our video, please subscribe to our channel and do not forget to hit the like button.
Hope this session was quite useful to you. In the next coming period, we'll learn something new and interesting. Till then, thank you.